Earlier this year, motorcyclists across the country let out a collective groan as Yamaha launched the FZ25 in India. The common lament was that we waited 8-9 long years for the next chapter in the FZ story in India, and we've got this. But is this really a case of too little too late? Well, we got to spend time with the FZ25 here today, just a couple of hours, and that gave us a sense of what kind of motorcycle it is. I've just got one thing to say, don't sign it off just yet.
There's no way you're going to sign off the FZ25 if you catch a glimpse of its almost transformer-like face. The ultra-tight all-LED headlamp is an absolute eye-catcher, and it uses just 3 LEDs to light up the road. This contrasts beautifully with the muscular and beefy outer shell that hides a generous 14-litre fuel tank. The tank extensions are well sculpted, and so are the panels that surround the split seats. Textures have been used very smartly as well. The side-slung exhaust is a muscular and familiar design. Right at the rear, you have a simple LED tail lamp. Interestingly, the FZ25 does with a bare minimum of graphics, and that is a sign of a great design. The overall stance is of a simple yet confident machine. But if you look closely, you'll notice that some cost cutting has been done as well. For instance, the turn indicators are not LED units. Also, the instrument cluster is a bit disappointing. It is quite simple and quite familiar, but actually it is different from the FZ16. This has a clock, a real-time fuel consumption indicator, and an overall average fuel indicator apart from trip meters. However, it lacks a gear position indicator.
Overall, Yamaha's pulled off a really nice balanced design because yes, it looks different from the FZ, but at the same time it has a very strong connect to the FZ16 we've had before. The new headlamp, of course, very striking, but in terms of intensity, at first glance, it doesn't seem to be as strong as we would have expected. Nonetheless, what we see here is Yamaha quality still is at the high standards that we expect of it, and overall, this does feel quite impressive and premium. Now, we've got to see how it performs on the road.
Okay, first we'll talk about the bits that have disappointed people. Yes, the engine is just air and oil cooled. There's no liquid cooling. Yes, it gets fuel injection, but it is only a 2-valve motor. And yes, 20.9 PS of power isn't anything special. So, is there an upside? Yes, a big one, and it's called torque. The FZ25 delivers 20 Newton meters of torque, that is 7 Newton meters more than the FZ16. And that's on a motorcycle that weighs only 16 kilograms more. The simple engine design has helped save weight, and as a result, the FZ25 weighs just 148 kilograms. The result is an incredibly peppy Yamaha that you don't have to rev hard to get the best out of. You can lug from low speeds in any gear. The 5-speed gearbox felt a bit notchy, but the clutch was light, so traveling in the city will be a breeze on the FZ25. The torque gets into full force from 4000 RPM and rockets up to 9000 RPM. When we saw an open stretch of road, the FZ hit an indicated top speed of 136 km per hour without getting too bothered. But if you are in the mood to take it easy, you can cruise at 100 kph, nice and smooth.
Is it a crime to give people a flavor they like again and again? If so, the FZ25 is guilty. Because in terms of the way it performs, it is a lot like the FZ16, which means loads of torque, low down in the rev range, nice mid-range. But the distinctive aspect about the FZ25, thanks to that FI system, is that power doesn't drop off at the top. So even if you rev it up, it stays nice and strong. Yes, it does taper off a bit, but on the whole, really strong motor, and the torque is just incredible. Now, we've also got to see whether it has the same traits as the FZ16 in the way it handles and rides.
Now, while the FZ25 looks similar to the FZ16, keep in mind this is a completely new motorcycle. It is longer by 25mm and its wheelbase is longer by 30mm as well. And if you look closely, you'll notice that this motorcycle has been built to a cost. There are no upside down forks. The 41mm dia for the front telescopic units is the same as the FZ16. Front tire is also of the same size, but it is a new design from MRF. And ABS isn't offered even as an option. At the rear, you do get a monoshock, but the swing arm is a regular box section unit. The tire size is a 140/60, but this is not a radial. And right at the center of it is a simple, regular tubular spine chassis. So it all sounds quite ordinary. On the go, yes, you do wish that brake feel was better and the tires had a bit more grip to satisfy the cornering junkies. But other than that, the FZ25 is genuinely enjoyable. It isn't sport bike sharp, but it is precise and it flows beautifully through corners. The slim waist lets you hug the bike properly and there's lots of leverage at the bars as well. On top of that, the suspension setup, it's good to tackle poor road surfaces as well. And even when you're carrying a pillion or luggage on board, the FZ25 won't feel nervous. So, in this regard as well, the FZ25 feels like the FZ16. It's fun but composed. But now let's look at what the FZ25 will be like to live with. One big upside is that the seating position is just right. It's upright enough for long distances with just the right foot peg position to let you have fun in the corners as well. At 795mm, the seat height is low enough for shorter riders as well. Also, the FZ25 is a larger motorcycle and this provides more room for the rider and the pillion. The seats are large and flat as well. An interesting touch for the pillion is that the tail lamp hanger has fins on it to reduce the spray when riding on wet roads. The 14-litre fuel tank and a company-claimed fuel efficiency of 43 km per litre make the FZ25 super practical as well. And yes, with a price tag of 1.2 lakh rupees, the FZ25 seems like an incredibly well-priced motorcycle as well.
Okay, I'll admit it, the FZ25 can easily be dismissed just on the basis of its spec sheet. But should you? Not entirely. Because for every rider out there who wants a sporty, aggressive motorcycle, there are many more riders who want something comfortable, easygoing, something that's versatile, something they can ride in the city, yet relax with on the highway. The FZ25 does that very well, and along with that, it adds a dollop of torque, which is just very enjoyable. The one thing missing on this motorcycle is ABS. That's something Yamaha should have offered for the Indian market. So, is the FZ25 from Yamaha too little too late? I wouldn't say that. I think it has a space in the Indian motorcycle market and is very welcome here.